Zhou Zhang showed no signs of fear. If you want to find trouble, I wouldn't mind making this faction disappear from Titan City. His words successfully provoked Kong Shen's anger. Kid, do you think the Sky River Group is just an ordinary faction? Let me tell you, our leader holds a high-ranking position managing Titan. Do you want to go against Titan City? Fearing that he wouldn't heed his threats, he added, if you dare to lay a hand on us today, you will be hunted down and punished by all of Titan City in the future. Even your family and friends won't be able to escape the consequences. Zhou Zheng continued to walk forward slowly, asking innocently, that sounds very frightening, but even if I spare you now, when you return to Titan City, you won't spare me, will you? Seizing the opportunity, Suahong threatened, are you starting to feel scared? Put down your weapons and get lost. Don't ever show up in Titan City again. I can tell my father to postpone the order to hunt you down for a few days. In response to these words, Zhou Zhang scoffed, is this the best condition for survival you can offer? Then don't blame me for using other methods to silence you. Quickly, the morale of the group plummeted, leaving only Suahong still full of bravado in a corner, a teacup cracking in his hand. The man in the suit slowly stepped forward, now I will call someone to handle this. But he was stopped by the other person, wait, bring the group leader from the other factions here first. Sua Tian and the martial artist sat there, their faces darkened as they lifted their teacups, a sense of foreboding creeping in. Could it be that the kid is in trouble? After that conversation ended, the next day, countless cars entered the base, causing people outside to wonder, what's going on today? Why are so many people from the Red Tripod Group and Sky River Group leaving the city together? Someone walked up and shared the information they had. I heard that in the vine-covered forest in the red zone, a rank 11 king rank lizard got tangled up. This information shocked the other person to their core. Oh my god, a rank 11 king rank? A single scale from it is worth a green crystal. In another corner, Zhou Zheng sat in front of his computer, stunned by what he read, knowing it could boost his reputation in Titan City. If you dare to lay a hand on us today, you'll be hunted down and punished by all of Titan City in the future. Turning back to the past, Kong Shen, upon seeing him approach, shouted out in a threatening tone, if you dare to lay a hand on us today, you'll have to endure the pursuit and punishment for the rest of your days. Even your family and friends won't be able to escape. Those words left Zhou Zhang with no choice but to weakly agree, unable to refute, he's not wrong, my strength is only enough to protect myself now. As he thought about this, the images of each person appeared in his mind. I still have family and friends, but my power is quite weak, power and authority are the best umbrellas. At that moment, he noticed something. The task on the screen was a simple description of an infernal level mission. After reading the description, Zhou Zhang couldn't help but exclaim, as expected of the Beast King Union, they really have money. Meanwhile, around the vine-covered forest, the rank 11 king rank lizard was tightly bound to the ground. Two men stood below, watching the scene with satisfaction. Song Yan, this lizard, I can give it to you. Do you have the guts to charge forward? The other man replied, Humph, you came here for this lizard, didn't you? With that, Song Yan raised his weapon and ordered, brothers, go for it. He didn't notice the sly smile of the other man who appeared behind him. Up on the tree branch, Xiang Shirhan witnessed everything and sneered harshly, TCH, a bunch of fools charging in like that will just die in vain. Upon hearing this, Zhou Zhang spoke up, asking, seems like you know a lot about this. Xiang Shirhan reflexively replied, of course. But immediately after, she was taken aback and realized, hey, how did you get here? Zhou Zhang honestly answered, just walked here as usual. Right after that, Xiang Shirhan suspiciously observed him beside her, a 5th-level martial artist, and I didn't even notice. Zhou Zhang, unfazed, voiced the question in his mind, that king rank lizard, can you use pink powder to tame it? Before that question, Xiang Shirhan appeared helpless in responding, this is a king rank, it's not easy to tame. Moreover, I forgot to tell you last time, that powder only works on deer horses. Her words left him feeling somewhat defeated. Indeed, her heart was as dark as expected, give me back the topaz. In response to the request, she refused without hesitation, once it's sold, it can't be returned. At the same time, the lizard surged, sending people flying in all directions, boss, save me. Song Yan struggled to fight back, shouting loudly to give orders, "Retreat! Everyone, retreat from this area immediately!" Ignoring the chaos on the other side, Xiang Shirhan remained calm, unchanged amidst the ever-shifting world, calling the fools. If our union leader hadn't been buried, he definitely would have a way to tame this lizard. Hearing the strange phrase, Zhou Zhang asked in confusion, "Buried?" Xiang Shirhan calmly explained, "Haven't you heard of it? It's a large city, no less than Titan City in the north." Her words made him pause and think. This name is interesting. It doesn't sound like the name of a city, though. Just then, Xiang Shirhan stood up and said loudly, "What? You mean someone has already taken the infernal level mission that we..." Without finishing, she immediately picked up her phone and ran off, saying, "I'll be back soon. I'll notify the union leader right away." Watching the girl run off, Zhou Zhang hadn't reacted in time. "Hey, you! Why are you running so fast?" He scratched his head, feeling helpless. She really is fast. I still wanted to ask her for more details about that infernal level mission. Turning his attention back to the giant lizard, the loud shouts of the group echoed. "Retreat quickly! Send more people tomorrow!" Zhou Zhang couldn't help but chuckle in amusement as he watched. "Since you're all leaving, then let me tame this mythical beast." As night fully fell, he lightly jumped down from above. Barely landing, Zhou Zhang swiftly appeared on the lizard's back. The vines surrounding it immediately attacked, but he easily dodged, his body as agile as the wind. Shortly after, a loud noise rang out, shaking the entire area. The next morning, when the group returned, they were stunned by the sight of an empty yard. One person screamed in panic, "Where's the lizard? Where did it go?" Elsewhere, at the ruins of the town, Zhou Zhan walked while sighing in admiration. As expected, the materials from this one are top-notch. He looked at the pile of items displayed on his system screen, feeling a bit regretful. But with so many materials, I doubt anyone will buy them all at once. Guess I'll sell them slowly. A moment later, Zhou Zhang switched to check his personal info. After last night's battle, the biggest gain was that he had leveled up to 45. "Finally, I've learned this skill." He skimmed through the skill summary displayed on the screen, his eyes shining with excitement. Drawing out a black-bladed saber, Zhou Zhang's face briefly broke into a sinister smile. "Let's see how long these zombies up ahead can last." Without missing a beat, Zhou Zhang charged forward, delivering a slash that froze the zombie in place. Landing softly, he slowly observed and analyzed, staying still for 3 seconds. "It really works," he thought to himself. With this skill, the infernal level mission is even more within reach. In a dark corner, a stranger had witnessed the entire scene. He watched closely, commenting to himself, "This Zhou Zhang is quite formidable. His speed is indeed impressive. But no matter how skilled he is, he's still just a level 5 martial artist." After scrutinizing the situation, the stranger lowered his binoculars, his gaze filled with calculation. He smirked and declared, "The humiliation of Dark Shadow. Let's have 5 gold put an end to it." In the distance, his group hadn't attacked yet but were intently observing Zhou Zhang. They followed each of his swift movements as he vanished and reappeared, taking down the zombies one by one with precision. Zhou Zhang moved with agility, leaping into the air and delivering a decisive blow to the final zombie. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from behind him. Instantly, a powerful force surged toward him, forcing Zhou Zhang to scramble to avoid it. From the shadows, a massive zombie appeared, its eyes burning red with ferocity. It swung its arm, aiming straight for Zhou Zhang. Zhou Zhang quickly crouched to dodge, but the strength and speed of the zombie were overwhelming. He couldn't react in time. A mighty blow from the zombie struck him, sending him flying backward, completely losing control. High above, the group monitoring the situation quietly discussed among themselves. One of them sneered, lowering his voice, "Humph, just as the boss predicted, he managed to dodge it. But he won't last much longer." Standing above, old Zhang observed Zhou Zhang and remarked with a hint of disdain, "The stance of this kid is certainly strange, but dodging is pointless. That blow from the high-level zombie earlier didn't kill him, but it left him crippled. He definitely won't make it out alive. With that, he stood up, draping an arm over the shoulder of the man beside him, praising him enthusiastically. The boss is really smarter than those fools we dealt with before. We don't even need to step in personally, the target's already been taken care of. Before the man could say more, the leader stood up and began to walk off, giving orders, let's go. It's rare we get a chance to leave, so let's find a place to train. Meanwhile, down below, Zhou Zhang, battered and bruised from the attack, slowly got back on his feet. His body was covered in wounds, and blood trickled from his mouth. The vitality that had once been full was now hanging by a thread. Breathing heavily, Zhou Zhang looked at the approaching zombies and asked himself, am I really going to die here? Then, in his exhaustion, Zhou Zhang summoned all his remaining strength and pulled out a strange red vial. Without hesitation, he lifted the vial to his lips and drank deeply. As the liquid flowed into him, a green aura enveloped his body. But even with this, he wasn't fully satisfied. Even with this vial, the healing speed is too slow. That shot earlier definitely came from someone who wants me dead. I need to get out of here quickly. However, Zhou Zhang now found himself surrounded by countless zombies, as well as another massive monster, blocking every escape route. Realizing the dire situation, he felt that his life had little left to regret, but there was no way to escape the horde of zombies or the sharp-eyed shooter. Just as he finished thinking that, the gigantic zombie raised its arm, preparing to strike. But before it could land its blow, a swift slash cut through the air, landing squarely in the chest of the monstrous zombie. After receiving treatment, Zhou Zhang stumbled to his feet, his sword in hand, and shouted fiercely, "Come on then, if you've got the guts, come at me again." The giant zombie fell to the ground with a heavy thud. Simultaneously, a surge of green energy enveloped Zhou Zhang. Seeing this, Zhou Zhang couldn't help but feel a sense of doubt about his life. Could it be that he had just broken through to level 6? He quickly realized that his injuries were healing at an incredible rate, the deep gashes on his body rapidly closing up. This unexpected recovery filled him with excitement. Even the heavens are helping me. My stamina can enhance my muscles, speeding up my recovery. But my bones are still broken, I'll need to find a safe place to hide and recover fully. As he finished speaking, more zombies, including another massive one, charged toward him. Yet, fortune smiled upon him. Zhou Zhang managed to find an abandoned house where he could hide. Settling into a corner of the room, he pulled out a strange cup of water. Though he hesitated, he knew that to recover faster, he would have to absorb a large amount of energy. Reluctantly, he took a sip, feeling the power coursing through him, even as he regretted having to use such a potent substance. But it was the only option he had left. Despite feeling a bit regretful, Zhou Zhang still brought the monkey wine to his lips and downed it in one go without hesitation. Although the potency of this wine was more suitable for 7th-level martial artists, at that moment, he couldn't care less. After finishing the drink, Zhou Zhang's face began to flush, and his gaze became hazy. He thought to himself, this wine isn't bad at all. However, he still felt a bit dissatisfied and muttered, but its effects are too slow. With that, he gasped for breath, tilting his head to one side as his eyes gradually blurred. Just before slipping into a daze, he managed to whisper a decisive phrase, "If you dare to ambush me, don't even think about escaping." Outside, the atmosphere was more chaotic than ever. Crows scattered everywhere, their cries echoing throughout the area. Below, the group was enthusiastically taking down each zombie, their excitement unrelenting. However, in a moment of distraction, one member of the group was suddenly attacked by a zombie that lunged at him. Out of nowhere, a gunshot rang out, and a bullet flew accurately, pushing the zombie back. Old Zhang, sitting on the roof of a nearby house with a gun in hand, shouted, "Hey, you guys, watch your backs. I'm feeling the pressure here too." Below, one of the group members laughed and replied, "Don't worry, boss. We definitely won't let any zombies get close to you." Hearing this, the man quickly dealt with the zombies in front of him, but his hasty movements caused him to lose control and be pushed back. After a tense battle, the group gathered in one spot to rest and enjoy some food. One person, chewing on a piece of bread, spoke up, "This place is truly a fertile ground for cultivation." The person next to him nodded in agreement, "I feel like with just another week, I could reach the peak of level 8. In another corner, a disgruntled voice chimed in, "Why do I have to be the one on support duty this week? I want to cultivate too." Biting the last piece of bread, the leader commanded, "Everyone rest for another 2 hours, then we'll change to another street." The others agreed without hesitation. After sleeping soundly, Zhou Zhang stood up contentedly and looked at his hands. "I've reached mid-level 6 in just one night. The monkey wine is indeed a top-notch product." After expressing his admiration, his attention was drawn to the tattered outfit he was wearing. Even the Snake King's leather armor couldn't withstand a single attack from a high-level zombie. "I really have a lucky life." After a sigh of relief, Zhou Zhang changed into another outfit and stood up. "Next, it's time to make those who ambushed me pay the price." After that declaration, Zhou Zhang activated his invisibility mode, perched atop a building, using a monocular to observe 5 individuals, all at level 8. It seemed the leader was at the peak of level 8. Time flew by in the blink of an eye, and soon several days had passed. Zhou Zhang remained silently observing, while the group below was completely unaware, focused on their battle, with people slashing and shooting fervently. 3 more days slipped by unnoticed. As Zhou Zhang, in his invisible form, quietly approached the group, he overheard a voice, a bing, "Are you feeling jealous? I feel like I'm about to level up again today." Zhou Zhang stealthily appeared by the door to listen to their conversation. "Jealous of what? If it weren't for the fact that it's not my turn, I could surpass you all in just one day." The guy laughed loudly and said, "You just keep talking." As for the leader, he remained silent and continued eating. At that moment, a fiery figure walked in, causing the group to be on high alert. "A bing, what's going on?" The person being questioned quickly sensed something unusual. "I just have this feeling that someone is getting closer. Could it be an illusion?" The others remained optimistic about life and pulled him back. "You're worrying too much, aren't you? Are you afraid that Zhou Zhang will turn into a ghost and come after you?" Another person joined in the teasing. "Even if he were to look for someone, it should be a bing. That shot was fired by you." Zhou Zhang stood outside the door, thinking to himself, "The day you all separate will be your day of death." The next day, the group left, leaving the guy alone on the rooftop. "A bing, keep watch on the rooftop. We'll head down first." The young man didn't refuse. "Got it." As soon as the group left, Zhou Zhang quietly approached from behind. Suddenly, the guy felt something and turned around cautiously, causing Zhou Zhang to stop in his tracks. Not seeing anyone, the guy turned back to his gun, feeling uneasy. "Strange, why do I feel like someone is always staring at me?" Just as he shifted his focus to the scope, he couldn't help but shout, "What the hell? Everyone's going in different directions, how am I supposed to provide support?" He remained focused on the panicking crowd below, oblivious to Zhou Zhang sneaking up from behind. "You all ran so far away, what do you expect me to support? You idiots." Immediately, Zhou Zhang said nothing, swinging his knife down, causing the man to scream in panic. He wasn't injured, but his weapon had fallen to the ground at some point. A bing, pale-faced, looked at Zhou Zhang standing in front of him in shock. "How is it you? Didn't you die?" He spoke while trying to step back, but was stunned to realize that he couldn't move. Zhou Zhang didn't reply, he just silently lunged forward. Without hesitation, he swung the knife fiercely into his neck. Blood sprayed, and a bing couldn't utter a final word before collapsing. "Demon." In another corner, a soldier, looking bored, set his weapon down and turned to suggest, "Old Zhang, it looks like we're about to clear out the zombies here. How about we go deeper to see what's up?" The man called Old Zhang didn't think much of it, nodding in agreement. "All right, but be careful." "Should be fine though." After their conversation, they picked up their weapons and proceeded further in. Zhou Zhang watched from above, his eyes glinting with cunning. He slightly smirked and muttered to himself, "Want to test the difficulty level? Easy. Let me add a bit of spice for you." With that, Zhou Zhang drew his bow and fired a series of arrows down at the massive zombies below. The sharp arrows struck deeply into the bodies of the giant zombies. As if provoked, they all roared in unison and began charging toward his position. Seeing this, Zhou Zhang quickly dodged and shot a few more arrows, then turned and ran. While running, he wickedly laughed and shouted provocatively, "Elite zombies, come here." On the other side, the two soldiers heard the unusual noise. One stopped, tilted his ear to listen, and then spoke, "That sounds like the voice of an elite zombie." The other soldier, still busy slashing away, gave a nonchalant reply, "Yeah, probably more than one." From a distance, countless gigantic monsters appeared, leaving the two men stunned. They counted 6 of them, which was indeed a bit difficult to handle. But without hesitation, both of them, fueled more by reckless courage than by brains, charged straight in, each taking on 3, to see who could finish off their opponents first. Sitting high above, Zhou Zhang observed the two as they took down each zombie one by one, and couldn't help but exclaim, "No wonder they are 8th-level martial artists, they can handle 3 elite zombies." But when did he jump down to the ground? He sneered, thinking to himself, "The zombies I gifted you will come at a price." Just as one zombie punched down hard, sending one of them flying, Zhou Zhang appeared behind him, knife in hand. As the zombie approached to attack, the man swung his sword in defense, but before he could act, Zhou Zhang struck him down with a single blow. The man was hit and immediately attacked by the zombie. His face turned pale as he tried to flee for help, shouting, "Old Gao, we're being ambushed." But he hadn't gotten far before facing his end. Zhou Zhang witnessed everything with a cold gaze. The man yelled, "Do you want to die?" But Zhou Zhang said nothing, merely throwing the knife towards him. He had no time to react before being struck. Instantly, that man met the same fate as his companion. The feeling of being unable to move sent him into a panic. Zhou Zhang appeared from behind, the blade pressed against his throat, coldly stating, "If you want to kill me, you must pay the price." On the other side, the two leaders were completely unaware and continued to slaughter zombies. One of them paused, staring at the ruined city, and pondered, "I wonder when I'll be qualified to challenge." Lost in thought, he swung his weapon uncontrollably, muttering, "Even the top expert of Titan City, Shui, couldn't do it, I'm still far behind." This scene left the person behind him confused. "Boss, what are you thinking about?" At that question, the other stopped, gently replying, "I'm thinking about the maximum limit of martial artists like us." Just then, a scream rang out, "Do you want to die?" Hearing that voice, he suddenly realized it was old Gao's. The two quickly rushed to help the one surrounded by the giant zombies with old Gao. He went over to lift the person up, offering comfort. The man looked pale. "Old Gao, hang in there." Immediately after, he raised his hand to his throat, struggling to say his last words, Zhou Zhang. Upon hearing that name, the two were horrified. "Zhou Zhang, it can't be, didn't he die?" At that moment, he noticed something. He had spotted a figure standing on a nearby building. Up there, Zhou Zhang grinned wickedly in response to his gaze. As the two regained their composure, the leader analyzed the situation. A Bing died before old Zhang and old Gao. The other man was stunned, realizing, this Zhou Zhang has already calculated everything. The leader gazed into the distant sky before speaking, "It's very clear now, we become the prey. If we don't finish this off, Zhou Zhang will not stop." Then, the leader and the other man entered the house, confidently asserting, "We've left the base, so he shouldn't be able to find us here that quickly." The other man proactively suggested, "Boss, you should rest, I'll keep watch tonight." The leader agreed, closing his eyes to focus on cultivation, his mind filled with tangled thoughts. "To kill me, even Shui wouldn't dare to boast like this." The person now mentioned stood atop a building, quietly observing below. He looked at the building where the others were hiding and smirked, "Such fools. They actually think they can shake me off by doing this." At that moment, a scream echoed from below, followed by a swarm of zombies appearing all over. From the rooftop above, a massive dragon appeared, staying for a moment before flying away. Zhou Zhang, observing the dragon nearby, let out a sinister laugh. Finally, the time had come for it to hunt, and he too should take action. With that, Zhou Zhang leapt down, knowing that the creature would arrive in about half an hour. He needed to move quickly. In no time, he arrived at a building. It was clear this was a hellish-level mission. Without hesitation, he dashed into the building. After traveling for a while, he found a pile of enormous eggs. Perfect, still 10 minutes to go. Zhou Zheng approached to observe an egg and exclaimed, "No wonder no one is taking on this task, this egg must weigh several tons, but the system backpack here is nothing at all." As he spoke, a stream of golden energy enveloped the egg. Once he finished, he placed his hands on his hips and looked at the other two eggs, deciding it would be better to leave them alone to avoid provoking it into destroying Titan City. Immediately after, he took out a tray for the eggs and placed it on there. With that done, Zhou Zhang's sinister smile gradually faded away. The remaining task was left to those two. A moment later, the dragon returned, astonished to see the only two eggs left. It then let out a roar filled with rage. The sound startled the two inside. What was that noise? The two stepped outside, bewildered as they looked up at the dragon in the sky. What's going on? Why is it so agitated? Zhou Zhang, standing behind, answered for them, it might be because it lost something. Upon hearing that voice, the two panicked and turned around. Zhou Zhang calmly greeted them, "We meet again, I've come to present you with a grand gift." Without saying a word, the two charged at him with their swords. Zhou Zhang showed no fear and grabbed a piece of wood to defend himself. As the liquid shot up, he used the wood to block it. In contrast, the liquid splattered all over the two of them. "Zhou Zhang, these disgusting tricks will only make your death more humiliating." Zhou Zhang disagreed, landing and saying a cryptic line, "Not necessarily, the real drama is just beginning." Immediately, a dragon appeared and roared loudly. The two colored-eyed assassin began to feel fear, but he shouted loudly, unaware of what Zhou Zhang had done. The beast approached the shattered egg, growing more frenzied. The leader immediately ordered a bing, "Split up, each of you run in a different direction to stay safe." The beast furiously stomped down on the roof of a high-rise building, causing it to collapse. As a bing was fleeing, he noticed the monster chasing him and shouted to the leader, "Boss, you have to survive to avenge us." After saying that, a bing yelled defiantly at the beast, "Come here, I'm not afraid." The beast kicked fiercely at a bing, sending him flying like a rocket through several buildings. When a bing fell to the ground, his body was shattered. He still mumbled, "Indeed formidable." But the beast was still not calmed, continuing to roar and wreak havoc everywhere. The leader was now sprinting down the highway, determined to escape. When he reached a water basin, he intended to wash off the smell of the egg from his body. However, before he could do anything, the beast appeared right behind him. Zhou Zhang sat atop a building, casually speaking, "Had I known the outcome would be like this, why did you have to provoke me?" The beast stomped down hard on the battered leader, causing him to fall to the ground. After killing two assassins, the beast stared intently towards Titan City and continued to roar incessantly. Zhou Zhang knew that the beast's anger would not easily subside. He pressed the button to activate the fireworks box, leaving it on the rooftop before departing. The fireworks would prevent the beast from running amok, ensuring it stayed in the building to guard the two remaining eggs. The fireworks shot up into the sky from the rooftop, exactly as Zhou Zhang had anticipated. The beast no longer looked at Titan City, it turned and flew back to where its two remaining eggs were. Zhou Zhang watched the fireworks light up the sky and chuckled, "It seems like this city hasn't seen fireworks in a long time." At that moment, a martial artist who saw the fireworks in the sky shouted, "Who's crazy enough to set off fireworks at night?" Shui stepped out from a cave and said, "I think it must be the fireworks from the Hell-level mission taker of the Beastman Alliance. However, I've never seen anyone set off fireworks while on a mission." Here comes Chu-hee, the top martial artist, a level 9 martial artist, ready to take the stage. The next day, Chu-hee and his fellow martial artists arrived in the city only to find a pile of wreckage and ruin. Zhou Zhang, still looking sleepy, stepped out, stretched, and yawned, "Hello, everyone." Chu-hee's companions were quite surprised. In Titan City, there were still martial artists who were not worried about encountering Chu-hee. Moreover, he was only a level 6 martial artist daring enough to come here to hunt monsters. Chu-hee remarked, "I find this person very interesting. If I get the chance in the future, I would like to get to know him." Zhou Zhang drove back to Titan City, and after days of struggling, he finally made it home. He sneezed, guessing that someone was talking about him. He placed the egg in the back of the pickup truck, covering it with a white cloth, thinking to himself that the egg was too large. If he took it out from the system backpack, it would be exposed, so he had no choice but to leave it in the truck bed. Excited to deliver the egg at the mission handover desk at the Martial Artists Alliance, Zhou Zhang was about to enter when he was shoved by someone, nearly causing him to fall flat on his face. The other person arrogantly said, "Zhou Zhang, don't block their way, they're in a hurry to hand over a profound level mission." As this team stepped inside, the people in the Martial Artists Alliance immediately began to whisper. They had just completed a profound level mission, so they must have accumulated quite a few points. It seemed they were called the Soul Warriors, and it was said that all of them were 8th level martial artists. The leader of the Soul Warriors approached the female staff member confidently and said, "After we hand over this mission, we should be able to reach 10 points as members, right?" The female staff member replied, "Please wait a moment while I check." At that moment, Zhou Zhang stepped forward, pushing his purple 11-star membership card in front of the staff member, stating that he wanted to hand over a mission. The staff member immediately gasped and went to handle Zhou Zhang's business. The leader of the Soul Warriors could not tolerate Zhou Zhang cutting in line. He turned to Zhou Zhang and insulted him, calling him a fool for bringing a fake card to the Martial Artists Alliance. Today, he was in a good mood, so he warned Zhou Zhang to get lost and stay out of sight. If the employee stammered and said, "In Zhou Zhang's card, there is only one hell level mission. May I ask if you want to accept this hell level mission?" All the members of the Soul War team were immediately petrified. Just a moment ago, they had been boasting about handing over profound level missions. Yet, their profound level mission might as well be called the grandfather of Zhou Zhang's hell level mission. The news that Zhou Zhang had completed the hell level mission sent shockwaves throughout the Martial Artists Alliance. Director Shen rushed down the hallway. He wanted to find the president to inform him that the mission was completed. Director Shen burst through the door and called out loudly, "President!" The president, who was practicing calligraphy, was startled by Director Shen's shout and accidentally ruined a stroke. He shot a piercing glance at Director Shen, who quickly apologized for being too hasty. Only then did the president ask what was going on, and Director Shen reported that Zhou Zhang has completed the hell level mission of the Beast King Union. The president was just as shocked as Director Shen. He shouted, "What?" In the office of the Beast King Union, the leader slammed the table and exclaimed, "Are you sure?" The subordinate reported, "Director Shinli Hua of the Martial Artists Alliance personally called to inform us to come and receive the handover from the leader of the Beast King Union." Unexpectedly, he had just returned from a mission and heard the news that someone had brought back a dragon egg. The leader immediately wanted to go to the Martial Artists Alliance to meet the person who had accomplished that difficult mission. After learning that Zhou Zhang had brought the egg for handover, the troops of the Martial Artists Alliance immediately mobilized to surround Zhou Zhang's vehicle for protection. One soldier stepped forward to inform the martial artists, saying, "The Martial Artists Alliance will temporarily take over this area, and we hope everyone will refrain from approaching recklessly." The martial artists stood at a distance, looking at the object in the back of the truck, unsure of what it was that was so large. In the VIP room of the Martial Artists Alliance, Director Shen continuously praised Zhou Zhang. Zhou Zhang humbly replied, "You flatter me." Director Shen then asked, "How have you thought about our previous invitation? If there is anything you are not satisfied with, we can discuss it further." Zhou Zhang said, "I will seriously consider this matter." But in reality, Zhou Zhang thought to himself, "If I join the Martial Artists Alliance, I will still be under someone else's control." He wanted to climb to the top on his own to protect those around him. This mission was the foundation for him to reach that peak. Although Zhou Zhang was a young gamer who had just crossed over to Titan City, he was improving his abilities day by day. Who would have thought that a 6th-level martial artist would successfully complete the most difficult mission in the Martial Artists Alliance? Zhou Zhang became one of the most talked-about names in the martial artists community. As the troops removed the white cloth covering Zhou Zhang's vehicle, a bright red egg appeared in the back of the truck. At that moment, the Beast King Union also arrived. Several martial artists immediately understood that this egg was the hell-level mission that the Beast King Union had issued. The martial artists were even more surprised when the leader of the Beast King Union, Han Jiangdong, personally arrived. It seemed like this mission was indeed of a high level. Some martial artists even excitedly called their friends, urging them to come back to the city and watch the show. Han Jiangdong trembled as he stood before the egg. This was exactly what he needed. An employee of the Martial Artist Union said, "If Leader Han has confirmed, we will transfer the reward to the task doer's account." Han Jiangdong eagerly asked, "Can I meet the hunting team this time?" The employee smiled and replied, "This mission was completed by one of our diamond-level purple members. His name is Zhou Zhang, but he has already left." Han Jiangdong was stunned and asked, "He completed it alone?" Han Jiangdong couldn't believe his ears. This egg must weigh at least several tons. How could an ordinary person bring it down from a building over 200 meters tall? The employee responded, "We don't inquire about the specifics of the process, we only focus on the result." At this moment, Zhou Zhang was still fuming because he had to walk back, as the guild had taken his vehicle as part of the mission's items. Zhou Zhang grumbled, "Couldn't they just buy me a new car?" When Zhou Zhang arrived at the pharmacy, Su Yunwen and Lan Shi were overjoyed. Su Yunwen rushed over and tightly hugged Zhou Zhang. "Young master, you've been gone for nearly half a month. I thought something bad had happened." Lan Shi ran around Zhou Zhang like a little puppy greeting its owner's return. Zhou Zhang had actually broken through to level 6. Zhou Zhang reassured the two of them, saying, "I'm not that easy to die." He patted Su Yunwen's head and instructed them to go back and pack, as they would be moving. He pointed to a spot on the map and said, "This is where we're moving to this time." Lan Shi looked at the map and said, "The third ring is where the rich and powerful live. How can we possibly live there?" Zhou Zhang raised an orange star crystal in his hand. He told Lan Shi, "We're rich kids now. We've reached a whole new level." Just as Zhou Zhang was showing off the orange star crystal to his two housemates, his phone rang from his pocket. When Zhou Zhang picked up, the voice of Zhang Shaoqi screamed so loudly it almost pierced his eardrums. Zhang Shaoqi scolded, "Zhou Zhang, you're something else. How dare you hide from us and do something so big?" Zhou Zhang chuckled awkwardly to brush it off, "Brother Zhang, I just wanted to try, I didn't think I would actually finish the mission." Zhang Shaoqi snorted and said, "Don't try to explain. This time, you're treating us. We'll be there to beat you up." After hanging up, Zhou Zhang mumbled, "Well, I guess I have to treat everyone to a meal. I might as well be straightforward about it." The Star Crown Hotel from last time seemed pretty good. Wu Leader also called Zhou Zhang, saying, "Zhou Zhang, you really are something. You went on a mission without telling anyone. I'm definitely coming to give you a lesson." Xiao Heng chimed in, "Experts always surprise others, we will definitely come to congratulate you." At the Star Crown Hotel, staff were bustling about, decorating flowers all around the entrance. The manager urged the employees to hurry, as the esteemed guests were about to arrive. An angry customer slammed the table because he was being asked to change rooms. He insisted that Manager Zhao provide him with a reason. Manager Zhao could only bow his head and say, "I'm sorry, Mr. Pang, but the guest this time is extremely important." Old Pang retorted, "If the guest is so important, am I not important?" Manager Zhao had to explain, "The guest this time is Zhou Zhang. He has just completed a mission of hell level difficulty, didn't you, Old Pang, always want to meet him at least once? This is your chance." Upon hearing this, Old Pang suddenly changed 180 degrees. He stepped forward, grasped Manager Zhao's shoulders, and spoke in a much gentler tone, "Oh, Xiao Zhao, why didn't you say so earlier? If Brother Zhou needs it, I can give up my room without a second thought." At that moment, a staff member approached Manager Zhao to inform him that Zhou Zhang had arrived. Old Pang affectionately remarked, "Has my brother Zhou arrived?" When Zhou Zhang arrived, the Star Crown Hotel had hung a banner congratulating him on his victory. The staff bowed their heads and shouted in unison, "Welcome, Expert Zhou." Zhou Zhang was taken aback, unsure of what was happening. He thought he might have entered the wrong place. Am I in the wrong place? What's going on? Manager Zhao affectionately pulled Zhou Zhang's hand and said, "It is a great honor for Sir Zhou to host the banquet at our place." Zhou Zhang shyly replied, "Manager Zhao is being too kind, all the masters who have worked with me have come here to congratulate you. As soon as Zhang Xiaoqi arrived, he told the kid Zhou Zhang that he had to prepare to drink several hundred glasses to atone for his sins today. Wu leader gave Zhou Zhang a thumbs up and praised, "A master is indeed a master, we really can't keep up." Xiao Hong continuously congratulated Zhou Zhang. Zhou Zhang raised his glass with everyone. The martial artists enjoyed a night of drinking to their heart's content. Even those thieves accustomed to solitude needed companions, just as the moonlight could make the dark night feel less cold. "This kid is really interesting," was the remark of a mysterious figure about Zhou Zhang. The old butler, hearing his master say this, immediately stepped back to arrange everything early. The next day, the people of Titan City were surprised to see the city lord's private jet flying in the sky. It had been a long time since they had seen the city lord use a helicopter, and they wondered what had happened in Titan City. The helicopter landed directly in Zhou Zhang's yard, and a girl stepped down from it. She was there to invite Zhou Zhang to have breakfast with the city lord. Zhou Zhang had just woken up, still looking dazed at this proposal, and immediately turned back to prepare to go to the city lord's residence. The girl led Zhou Zhang to the meeting spot. The old butler bowed his head and invited Zhou Zhang to follow him. Zhou Zhang was escorted to a lavish banquet table. The city lord had already been waiting there for an unknown amount of time. The city lord, named Mo Wu, was also a high-ranking martial artist whom Zhou Zhang couldn't quite gauge. Mo Wu invited Zhou Zhang to sit down and enjoy the meal. The city lord told Zhou Zhang that he had wanted to invite him for dinner the night before, but seeing Zhou Zhang and his friends celebrating, he felt it would be inappropriate to interrupt. Today, however, he wanted to invite Zhou Zhang to congratulate him on completing such an unimaginable mission. Zhou Zhang cautiously thanked the city lord. Mo Wu looked out the window, enjoying the view while eating. He hoped Zhou Zhang would relax and enjoy himself as well, not needing to be so reserved. Half an hour later, Mo Wu wiped his mouth and asked Zhou Zhang if he had eaten enough. Zhou Zhang pointed to the empty plates in front of him and said to the city lord, "Just look at the table in front of me, and you'll know." The city lord laughed heartily. "Zhou Zhang, truly, you're a young man, eating more is a good thing." Zhou Zhang responded, "It's true, the city lord, your meals are so extravagant even for breakfast. If I didn't eat, I'd be a fool." The city lord Mo Wu asked Zhou Zhang if he had any doubts when he invited him for breakfast. The city lord's primary purpose was to get to know Zhou Zhang, and secondly, to talk about the true benefits of Titan City. The Martial Artists Union, in many ways, represented the interests of martial artists in Titan City. When Zhou Zhang became a one-star diamond member, he gained the privileges of a martial artist in Titan City. Now, as a 5-star purple diamond member, those privileges were even more substantial. City Lord Mo Wu informed Zhou Zhang that his current ranking in Titan City had reached number 27. Mo Wu then approached a projector, pressed a button to start it, and continued, "But now, I have an even greater opportunity for you." The projector lit up, revealing a map in front of Zhou Zhang. Mo Wu spoke again, "Zhou Zhang, you have the option to choose 10% of the profits from the new city, as well as the right to do business in Titan City, excluding the first 5 districts. Zhou Zhang was taken aback. He hadn't known that Titan City was planning to build a new city. Mo Wu pointed in a direction and explained, "It hasn't been built yet, but it will be. We will be acquiring Yanghe County, which is 150 km away from Titan City, and simultaneously constructing a new military camp. This will provide a place for martial artists to rest when they're training outside." Mo Wu added, "Once fully prepared, taking control of that area will be easy. After a few months of construction, it will become a very convenient transit hub, and the profits will definitely be substantial." Zhou Zhang nodded in agreement, saying, "This is indeed an enticing opportunity." Zhou Zhang couldn't shake off the thought, there's no such thing as a free breakfast. He knew that he would have to contribute something to Titan City in return. After weighing his options, he decided to accept 10% of the profits from the new city and the right to do business in District 6. City Lord Mo Wu readily agreed to Zhou Zhang's proposal. Soon after, his subordinates took Zhou Zhang back by helicopter. Meanwhile, the butler couldn't help but wonder, is the profit share we're giving Zhou Zheng too much? City Lord Mo Wu calmly replied, not at all. The potential Zhou Zheng holds makes it worthwhile. Titan City may be a small corner of the world, but someone as talented as Zhou Zhang must be kept here at all costs. After Mo Wu approved the plan for the construction of the transit hub, the martial artists were ecstatic. In the future, when they ventured out to train, they wouldn't have to worry about sleeping under the stars anymore. The captain of the guard squad turned to his subordinate with a puzzled look and asked, "We're about to explore the new city, why do you look like you just lost your rice rations?" Xiao Hang, looking dejected, asked the captain, "Is Zhou Zhang going to be the deputy captain of this exploration team?" The captain confirmed, "Yes, I told you this earlier." Xiao Hang slumped down to the ground, knowing full well he was going to be in trouble. After all, the last time, he had threatened Zhou Zhang. The captain reassured him, "Don't worry too much. Zhou Zhang isn't the type of person you think he is." After completing the Hell level mission, Zhou Zhang had become the darling of the guard squad. When Zhou Zhang arrived, the guards all seemed displeased, but he proved his capabilities to them. As he reached the training area of the guard team, one of the guards spoke up, saying, "Zhou Zhang is being too modest driving this car, isn't he? I heard he just reached level 6, who knows how capable he really is." Zhou Zhang got out of the car and greeted the guards. A few members of the guard team, who were practicing with swords, laughed and said, "He's only level 6 and already our commander? Is this a joke?" Zhou Zhang paid no attention to these remarks. He was a very approachable person and understood that everyone was skeptical. Cheerfully, he stepped forward and said, "Anyone who is not convinced can step up. If you can defeat me, I will hand over the vice captain position to you." Xiao Hang intended to challenge Zhou Zhang, but the team leader held him back and reminded him of the incident with Luo Guahai. Previously, Zhou Zhang, who was only at level 3, had managed to kill Luo Guahai, who was at level 8. Now that he had reached level 6, it was uncertain just how formidable he had become. Seeing that Xiao Hang was not stepping up, an 8th level martial artist named Li Fangxing stepped forward. He introduced himself, saying, "Vice Captain Zhou, I hope you will guide me. My name is Li Fangxing, but everyone I know calls me Berserk 3. Zhou Zhang muttered, "Fortunately, it's not some other name." Zhou Zhang continued to ask, "Is there anyone else who wants to challenge me?" Li Fangxing confidently replied, "You should defeat me first. After that, feel free to challenge others." Zhou Zhang stepped forward, snapped a dry branch, and tossed it to Li Fangxing. He knew that bare hands alone wouldn't fully demonstrate his combat abilities. So, they would use the branch instead. It was Li Fangxing's first time seeing a fight like this, and just the sight of it made him admire Zhou Zhang. However, he was determined not to go easy on him. The guards whispered among themselves, unsure whether Zhou Zhang could win this fight. After all, Berserk 3 was an 8th level martial artist, a considerable gap compared to the vice captain. Berserk 3 charged at Zhou Zhang with an attack. In a flash, Zhou Zhang moved with incredible speed, darting in various directions. The guards gaped in astonishment, unable to comprehend how Zhou Zhang had avoided the attack. In the blink of an eye, Zhou Zhang had jumped behind Berserk 3, and the stick in his hand was already pressed against his opponent's throat. Berserk 3, startled, dropped the wooden stick. It was clear now this was the true strength of the vice captain. After the fight, no one in the guard squad dared to gossip about Zhou Zhang's abilities anymore. They all climbed onto the transport vehicle, heading for the transit zone. As they rode in the back of the truck, one of the guards, beaming, turned to Zhou Zhang and said, "Your skills are amazing. Take care of us when we get there." Zhou Zhang smiled and replied, "I'm used to working alone. I've never led a team before, so I'll be relying on all of you for guidance from here on out." The team was split into 2 groups for the mission in the transit zone, one consisting of the guards and the other made up of martial artists. The captain of the guard team gave instructions, "We divide into 2 groups and move forward together." The leader of the soldier group issued his command, "Both teams, listen carefully. Follow your commander's orders. Do not act on your own." The captain of the guards reiterated, do not let personal desires jeopardize the interests of the whole team. Zhou Zhang couldn't help but think to himself, no wonder this is the elite guard of Titan City. Their discipline is impeccable. The captain, using binoculars, spotted a small group of zombies in the distance. It seemed the guard team would have to eliminate them before they could proceed. Zhou Zhang, with his bow slung over his shoulder, confidently said, "Leave this group of zombies to me." The captain raised an eyebrow, surprised. "Can you handle it?" Without waiting for a response, Zhou Zhang dashed off, leaving only the words, "Don't worry, I'll finish this quickly." True to his word, Zhou Zhang single-handedly took down wave after wave of zombies with skillful precision. The guards, watching from the rooftops, were stunned by his speed and efficiency. Xiao Hang couldn't help but exclaim, "Incredible! He always manages to change my opinion of him." Just then, Zhou Zhang's radio crackled with an urgent voice, "Retreat now. A high-level, intelligent zombie is heading toward Zhou Zhang." Zhou Zhang turned around and immediately spotted the elite zombie closing in on him. He pursed his lips and said, "If it's coming, let's just kill it. Everyone, provide support from a distance while I handle this zombie." Xiao Hang shouted in excitement, "Looks like I'll be learning something new again." The captain of the guard team pulled the gun's trigger and ordered the entire team to provide remote support for Zhou Zhang. Meanwhile, the second martial artists team observed the high-level zombie heading toward the guard team. The leader of the martial artists team sharpened his sword with a swift motion, eagerly awaiting the moment when the guards would have to beg for their help. He even started betting on it. However, Zhou Zhang, having already reduced the zombie's health by half, swiftly finished it off, extracting the star crystal from its head. One of the martial artists from Team 2, still in disbelief, peered through his binoculars and reported to his captain that the elite zombie had been dealt with. Even Zhou Leader, surprised, remarked, "I can't believe it's already finished. That was so fast." Taking advantage of the moment, Zhou Zhang broke through to level 48 in thief class. That night, the guard team gathered in an abandoned house to rest and recharge. The captain of the guard used the radio to contact old Zhou, informing him that the first team had eliminated the zombies in the city center. "We're curious, how's it going on your end?" Old Zhou replied, "We're almost done here too. We've already taken care of 7 elite zombies." The team leader cheerfully said, "Today you all take a break. Wait until tomorrow when the main troops arrive. Our mission to clear the way is considered complete." The captain of the guard patted Zhou Zhang on the shoulder and remarked, "It seems we have far exceeded the progress of Team 2, thanks to Deputy Zhou Zhang's assistance." Zhou Zhang humbly replied that it was all due to everyone's collective effort. One guard raised his cup of water high, excitedly saying, "When we meet Team 2 again, I can't wait to see their faces when they realize they've been outdone." The next morning, Zhou Zhang eagerly plunged into the horde of zombies, continuously fighting. Although Zhou Zhang was very enthusiastic, it was taking too long. He thought that killing them one by one was incredibly slow and that he needed to find a way to gather them together. Zhou Zhang returned to where the guard team was gathered to ask for grenades. "Does anyone have grenades?" The captain pointed to a wooden box and said, "They're all in that box over there." At that moment, the leader of Team 2 was fiercely battling on the other side but was also very curious about what Team 1 was doing. Old Chu was surprised to hear from his subordinate that the captain of Team 1 was using grenades to blow up the zombies. Zhou Zhang, holding a pile of grenades, threw them wherever he went, causing the zombies to explode. The leader of Team 2 stood on a high wall, observing Zhou Zhang's actions through binoculars. He thought to himself that Zhou Zhang had truly gone mad. Could it be that he wants to lure all the zombies over here? A martial artist said, "I have heard the name Zhou Zhang referred to as the madman by many. I never expected that the nickname would be so fitting for the real person." Relying on his crazy plan, Zhou Zhang managed to deal with most of the zombies. When the vanguard team of Titan City arrived, the president stood on a high platform and shouted, "The vanguard team has cleared the way, now it's time for everyone to charge in and kill." The martial artists immediately rushed forward to fight the horde of zombies. 3 days later, the city had been thoroughly cleaned up. Zhou Zhang bid farewell to the members of the guard team, as he wanted to make a trip back to the city. If anything came up, they could contact him. One guard speculated whether the vice captain was in such a hurry because he missed his wife. At that moment, Xiao Hang, being nosy, said, "I remember a story about the vice captain getting angry over a beauty. Do you all want to hear it?" Another guard, curious, asked, "The vice captain can be like that too?" I really didn't see it coming. Hearing these words, Zhou Zhang felt helpless. "Just wait until I get back to the city, I will definitely give you all a lesson." Zhou Zhang then drove back to Titan City. On the way, he thought that once the transit station was completed, he would also have a place to stop in Titan City. While on the road, he encountered a group of martial artists struggling against some monsters. One martial artist shouted, "Have we finally sent out a distress signal or not?" Another martial artist was frantically operating a computer. He anxiously shouted, "It's lost. The Titan Guard has sent a support team, but it will take another half an hour." A martial artist gritted his teeth and said, "Are we supposed to wait for another half hour just to have them come and clean up our bodies?" Although the martial artist who had delivered the news had done his best, there was nothing he could change. Just then, Zhou Zhang's car came rushing toward them. The martial artists recognized it as the vehicle of the Titan Guard, and it seemed like they might be saved after all. Zhou Zhang poked his head out of the car and asked if they needed help. One martial artist stammered, "Why is there only one person coming, and he's just a level 6 martial artist?" The leader of this group of martial artists immediately shouted at Zhou Zhang, "Did your brain get waterlogged or something? Are you here to throw your life away? Get lost, now!" Zhou Zhang, known as the king of hard hits with a wild streak, still shamelessly got out of the car. It seemed these people truly needed his help. Seeing Zhou Zhang confidently step forward in front of the pack of wolves with red eyes, the leader gasped and shouted, "We're dealing with a madman who's looking for death." The wolves began to gather in even greater numbers, heading towards Zhou Zhang. Yet, Zhou Zhang stood still and threw a throwing dagger at the pack. Several wolves immediately fell down, and the martial artists watching Zhou Zhang's performance were stunned. Could it be that all level 6 martial artists in the Titan Guard were divine beings descending from the heavens? Zhou Zhang only needed to wield his dagger for a short while to send the wolves to their maker. Just then, his phone in his pocket rang. Old Wang was calling to share some very good news with Zhou Zhang. The healing medicine had been successfully concocted. Zhou Zhang hurried back to the laboratory of the villa. He looked at the red vial in his hand that Uncle Wang had just created. Zhou Zhang picked up the vial, puzzled, and thought to himself, "This doesn't look like a healing potion at all, it looks more like a blood tonic from a game, doesn't it?" In a short time since arriving in Titan City, Zhou Zhang had leveled up continuously. However, his ambitions did not stop there. Zhou Zhang also wanted money and power. Therefore, he teamed up with Old Wang to delve into potion making. Old Wang was delighted because he had just developed a potion from the red orchid. The effectiveness of the previous vials had been negligible, but Old Wang felt a bit regretful because the red orchid was very rare, so the yield of the potion would be quite low. The amount of red orchids that Zhou Zhang had given to Uncle Wang was only enough to produce about 300 vials. Zhou Zhang opened a vial and took a sip, feeling exactly like he was drinking a blood tonic from a game. He was surprised that in this world, it was also possible to create a blood tonic similar to that in the game. From now on, he wouldn't have to worry about his health potions running out when he needed them. Excited, Zhou Zhang asked Uncle Wang how many vials had been made. Old Wang replied, "We have made 87 vials. Additionally, there are many ointments made from the leftover materials. While their effectiveness isn't as strong as this drinking potion, they are still more potent than the common potions on the market." Zhou Zhang was extremely enthusiastic. He decided to take all of Old Wang's ointments, while Uncle Wang could keep the other vials to sell at the store. He was sure they would become bestsellers. Zhou Zhang excitedly left with a pile of medicine, secretly thinking that after developing the number 1 military base, a large number of martial artists would definitely flock here. He was determined to seize this business opportunity for medicine. Zhou Zhang then called Xiao Hong, inviting him to collaborate on the business. At the military base of the team, Captain Xiao Hong gathered everyone together to announce an important matter. Xiao Hong opened a wooden box, and his subordinates immediately gasped at the sight of a pile of star crystals inside. One of the brothers even joked, "Captain, are you rich now? It's the first time I've seen you with so much money." Xiao Hong looked at the green star crystals in the box and told everyone that this money did not belong to him, but to Zhou Zhang. He explained, "I called everyone here today to spend all of this star crystal, but there is one condition: you can only buy external medicine, and you must sell it on the market for the highest possible price." At that moment, Zhou Zhan was still busy shooting monsters in the forest. From a distance, a martial artist eagerly observed Zhou Zhang shooting arrows through a telescope. He turned to his boss and said, "There's a fool practicing archery in the forest." The boss, puffing on a cigarette, scolded him but was still somewhat curious. "What's the big deal about practicing archery?" The martial artist hurriedly handed the telescope to the boss and said, "You have to see the weapon that kid has." The boss immediately felt satisfied with Zhou Zhang's weapon and came up with the idea of robbing him. The group of bandits madly rushed toward Zhou Zhang. One of the subordinates asked his leader, "How long do you think it will take for them to find us? Is the boss crazy or something?" The leader replied, "His son has been in the red zone for over a month now. There's probably nothing left but a pile of bones. What a waste of time. Whether the old boss's son is dead or not doesn't matter. Today, catching that fat goat is enough." Zhou Zhang sat on a tree branch, shooting arrows to take down nearly all the health of the vine monster. He wiped the sweat from his forehead. If he killed this vine today, he would reach level 50 and unlock a new skill. Just then, a group of people called out loudly, "Hey, you up there on the tree, come down. Boss, we need to talk to you." Zhou Zhang frowned and ignored them, continuing to aim and shoot at the vines. The subordinate shouted angrily, "Is this kid an idiot or something?" He drew a knife and rushed toward Zhou Zhang. "Did you not hear our boss calling you down? Are you deaf?" Zhou Zhang leaped to dodge a strike from the martial artist. He remained focused on shooting the vines. The leader watched as Zhou Zhang continuously avoided the attacks, skillfully dodging one blow after another while staying focused on the vines. The leader couldn't understand what was wrong with the fool up in the tree. After Zhou Zhang finally brought down the bizarre vine, he leveled up to 50. Now, Zhou Zhang would start settling the score with the martial artist who had been spinning around him, swinging his saber all this time. Zhou Zhang chose a skill from the attribute table, struck a blow, and the martial artist's life hung in the balance. The big boss, wearing sunglasses, was sweating profusely. He couldn't believe that the incredibly agile Zhou Zhang before him was an ordinary person. Zhou Zhang jumped down from the branch, standing tall in front of the big boss, and said, "Did you not call for me? What are you afraid of?" The big boss, frightened, took a few steps back, using his affiliation with the Sky River Group to intimidate Zhou Zhang. Upon hearing the name Sky River Group, Zhou Zhang's blood boiled even more. He said to the man in sunglasses, "Great, just when I was looking for someone to practice my skills on." The big boss immediately ordered his subordinates to charge. Whoever kills him will receive a low-grade purple star crystal as a reward. Zhou Zhang coated 2 daggers he held in his hands with poison, and combined it with a short-distance teleportation move, causing the henchmen with horse-like faces to attack, but they looked around and couldn't find Zhou Zhang anywhere. Zhou Zhang moved incredibly fast, rushing in to attack and taking down each one with ease. Seeing the situation deteriorating, the big boss charged in, intending to risk it all against Zhou Zhang. Zhou Zhang leaned back, easily dodging a fatal blow. He drove his elbow into the big boss's stomach, causing him pain that made him feel like his sunglasses would fall off. Zhou Zhang pressed a dagger against the big boss's throat, proving that he would never learn to behave. Zhou Zhang finished speaking, and his knife slashed across the neck, sending the gang leader to his death. After sending the members of the Sky River Group to hell, Zhou Zhang collected quite a bit of equipment and money. While Zhou Zhang was crouching down, counting the items he had obtained, he suddenly heard a rumbling sound from the forest, as if some creature was charging toward him. It was an armored bull, strong enough to reach level 8. The bull stood before Zhou Zhang, snorting heavily. Zhou Zhang immediately stood up, preparing to face the rampaging bull. He thought to himself, "Zhou Zhang is no easy target. Zhou Zhang swiftly leaped behind the armored bull. Using his stunning skill, he struck the bull's back. The bull, enraged, glared and tried to shake Zhou Zhang off. Zhou Zhang sat on its back, continuously stabbing it in the back, but the bull seemed unaffected. It was truly a tank of a beast, still charging forward wildly. Zhou Zhang sat comfortably on its back, looking for ways to torment it to death. Seeing it couldn't shake Zhou Zhang off, the bull suddenly reared up on its two hind legs, attempting to throw him off. Zhou Zhang drove his knife deep into the messy fur on its head, shouting, "You won't get rid of me that easily." 6 hours later, the bull was still charging frantically through the forest, but its health was nearly depleted. Zhou Zhang, eager, said, after torturing each other for 6 hours, "It's almost over." Zhou Zhang thrust his knife into the bull's back several times. It howled in pain and finally collapsed. Zhou Zhang quickly jumped off the bull's back. He spun the two daggers in his hands and moved toward the bull, ready to finish it off. However, the bull's gaze fixed on him, causing him to halt. He felt a pang of sympathy for it. Zhou Zhang approached the bull, which nudged him and let out a few sounds. Surprisingly, Zhou Zhang walked away. If the bull was asking for mercy, then he would spare its life. It was already late, so Zhou Zhang found a cave and settled in to rest. He built a fire and spent the night inside the cave. Occasionally, he could hear the bull's calls in the dark night. The next morning, as Zhou Zhang stretched and stepped out of the cave, he found the bull standing in front of him, snorting heavily as if it were ready to charge again. Zhou Zhang was startled and said, "You want to fight again?" Just as he drew his dagger, the bull charged, but unexpectedly, it didn't seem to intend any harm. Instead, it ran up to Zhou Zhang and licked his hand, as if trying to befriend him. On the main highway, a caravan was leaving the forest and heading toward Titan City. One of the martial artists asked the third brother, "Wasn't that arrogant guy riding a level 7 turkey just now?" The third brother replied, "Next time you meet a martial artist like that, don't speak recklessly. Even a level 7 turkey from the Beast King Alliance only has a few left, and each one is worth a purple star crystal." The younger brother snorted and said, "What's so impressive about that? Once we earn enough money in the future, we'll buy a few to play with." Old third explained to the younger brother, "Buying a turkey isn't just about having money. You also need status. If you don't respect anyone, you'll pay a heavy price for it later." Just as the younger brother was about to tell a story, old third suddenly heard a noise ahead. He jumped up from the back of the truck, astonished as he looked at the scene in front of him. An armored buffalo of level 8 was galloping towards them. On its back was a martial artist. Zhou Zhang rode the buffalo past the convoy while waving to everyone. Old third instinctively waved back. The younger brother suddenly asked old third, "Do you know the person who just ran by?" Old third replied, "I don't know him." The younger brother, curious and confused, asked, "Then why did you wave back at him?" Old third hit the younger brother on the head, "What do you understand? That was a martial artist riding an armored buffalo of level 8. I bet there's only one person like that in all of Titan City." As they approached the city gate, Zhou Zhang jumped off the armored buffalo, intending to put it into his spatial bag, but to his surprise, the bag was already full and he couldn't add any more items. Zhou Zhang scratched his head, unsure of what to do. Wild animals couldn't be casually brought into the city, but if left outside, they would be killed by other martial artists. Zhou Zhang looked at his system's attribute board, hoping that once he reached level 60, he could unlock the pet system, just like in the game. At that point, keeping a pet would be much more convenient. But that was a matter for the future. Right now, Zhou Zhang didn't know what to do with the armored bull he had just tamed. As he pondered over this, he suddenly remembered someone. Although he had tamed the bull, he lacked knowledge on how to care for pets, so he decided to go to the plains to meet Shirhan, the leader of the Beast King Union. On the plains, Zhou Zhang found Shirhan being courted by the eldest son of the Meng family in a vast, windy meadow. Xinyan of the Beast King Union asked Shirhan, "This place is beautiful. Why didn't you tell me about it sooner?" Shirhan replied that she had only recently discovered this place by chance while passing by, which is why she had brought him to visit today. While Qin Yun was distracted, admiring the scenery in the distance, he suddenly heard someone calling his name. A martial artist, leading a group of beasts, approached. He was riding a turkey and waved his hand, saying, "Do you remember me? I'm Manhwa." Everyone sitting on the meadow stood up in surprise. This was the first time they had seen such a luxurious hunting party, complete with personal riding beasts. Just one turkey alone was worth a blue star crystal. A martial artist in the group recognized the person riding the turkey as the young master of the Min family corporation. Minwen walked up, took Qin Yun's hand, and complimented, "It's been a long time. You're still as beautiful as ever." Minwen politely responded, "Min young master is just joking." Minwen glanced behind him. He was already captivated by the lightning strike of love for Shirhan. He could sense the unique aura of this beautiful woman. Shirhan gently approached Minwen, whispering into his ear that she wanted to go rest on the other side. Just before Shirhan was about to leave, Minwen suddenly ran after her and said, "It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Minwen, the CEO of the Min Family Corporation." Shirhan quietly stepped aside, not wanting to bother Minwen. However, Minwen stubbornly followed her like a leech, asking, "You must be from the Beast King Union, right?" Minwen pointed proudly at the turkey he had just ridden, boasting, "You must have seen this turkey by now, right? Would you like to ride it with me and enjoy the breeze?" Minwen was originally a spoiled young master, skilled at deceiving well-behaved girls. What kind of girl hadn't he encountered? But Shirhan gave him an entirely new feeling, making him determined to win her heart. Shirhan felt a bit uncomfortable, unsure of how to deal with a spoiled young man like Minwen. However, as the union leader, she had to show respect for his father, so she didn't yet know how to refuse him. At that moment, Zhou Zhang suddenly flew in from behind and shouted, "Xiang Shirhan, Shirhan!" The people of the Beast King Union were even more shocked. Wasn't this guy riding a bull in armor? The bull stopped in front of Shirhan, leaving both Shirhan and Min Young Master stunned. The hunters of the Beast King Union weren't sure if they were seeing things. Did this kid really just ride a level 8 armored bull in Titan City? The hunters had never seen anyone so bold. Zhou Zhang asked Shirhan if she had some free time, and Shirhan, overjoyed like she had found a lifeline, finally had an excuse to refuse Min Young Master. She said, "My friend has arrived." With that, she kicked Min Young Master aside and followed Zhou Zhang. Zhou Zhang extended his hand, inviting Shirhan to ride the bull, then urged the bull to charge forward, leaving Min Young Master standing there, gritting his teeth in confusion. Furious, Min Young Master rushed toward the turkey, shouting, "I can't stand this. That guy dared to steal a woman from me." He immediately jumped onto the turkey, but his subordinates quickly stopped him, pleading, "Min Young Master, don't be impulsive. We can't afford to mess with that person." However, Min Young Master paid them no mind. He was the Min Young Master, no one in Titan City had ever dared to cross him. One of his subordinates added, "That person's name is Zhou Zhang." Instantly, Min Young Master halted his foolish actions. The common boy riding that bull was the one causing a stir in Titan City recently? It was a good thing Min Young Master didn't act rashly earlier. If he had, his father would have definitely made him go to Zhou Zhang's house and apologize. Seeing his romantic pursuit of Shirhan fail, Minwen turned to Qin Yun, winked at her, and invited, "Would you like to ride the turkey with me?" Shirhan sat behind Zhou Zhang, curiously asking, "Where did you get this bull?" Zhou Zhang replied, "I fought with it for a while, nearly killing it, and then suddenly it started following me." Shirhan, skeptical, didn't believe it. Taming an armored bull couldn't possibly be that simple, could it? Zhou Zhang then asked, "What do you think?" "I came to you because I wanted to see if you have experience with pets." Shirhan explained, "We have to go through many steps to tame pets, and we need to choose different methods based on their instincts. It's not as simple as you say. But if you don't understand how to care for it later, you can ask me." Suddenly, Zhou Zhang turned his head. Shirhan widened her eyes, feeling her cheeks flush. Embarrassed, she jumped off the bull and ran off, only managing to say, "I have a bit of business, I'll see you later." Before Shirhan could get far, Zhou Zhang called after her, "Wait, at least leave your phone number." how else am I supposed to find you? At the entrance of a pharmacy, a group of merchants were gathered, discussing the latest situation. Gold-sang medicine was hard to come by. They had passed by many shops, some didn't have it, and others sold it at exorbitant prices. Another merchant sighed, I regret not stocking up on their medicine earlier. The merchants were frustrated. Not only had the price of the medicine gone up, but there was now a limit on how much each person could buy. Xiao Hong, sitting on the side, observed the entire scene. He called Zhou Zheng to report, we've timed our medicine stockpile perfectly. The way those shady merchants in Titan City are acting, they clearly don't want anyone else to have a way of living. Zhou Zhang responded, the #1 military base is about to open. The merchants must have seen it as a business opportunity, which is why they're rushing to hoard medicine. We're just a step ahead of them. Xiao Han, the leader, asked, our warehouses are almost full of medicine. Should we start shipping it out now, or continue stocking up? Zhou Zhang suggested, let's not ship it out yet. We don't need to buy more either. Keep a little star crystal on hand, just in case something unexpected happens. The warehouse must be guarded carefully. Xiao Hong firmly replied, the warehouse will definitely be secure. Zhou Zhang sighed in relief. After this medicine crisis, the wealth he'd gain might very well make him one of the rich elites in Titan City. At the construction site for the new district, Zhang Shaoqi covered his ears to block out the noise, ensuring it didn't disturb his call. He told Zhou Zhang, where are you off to, wandering around? With the reconstruction of your district, I'm so exhausted I can barely function. Zhang Hong, the leader, said, the basic issues here have been handled. I've invited the best landscape designer to plan the overall layout of the district. There will be everything, food, entertainment, you name it. When Zhou Zhang asked about the budget, Zhang Hong replied, of course, the budget is high. You're not unaware of the current material prices, but once this district is built, it will undoubtedly become the most prestigious landmark in Titan City. Zhou Zhang sighed, you burn through star crystals like water. Now, the only option is to sell something to make some money. Zhou Zhang pulled out a set of armor made from a dragon with wings from his backpack and examined its properties. He thought to himself, it's been a while, and the Sky River Group must have given up searching for the young master by now. I'll sell these items to make a little money. He set up the armor and weapons on the roadside, intending to sell them. As he arranged the items, he thought, I haven't sold anything in a while. In the future, I might be busier, so I should find a more trustworthy person to help me sell off these old items. An old man named Tao Chownan approached to look at the merchandise. He noticed Zhou Zhang seemed unfamiliar, probably someone selling for the first time. Curious about the quality of the items, the old man picked up a piece of armor and, startled, asked Zhou Zhang, did you buy these from a liquidation sale at an equipment store? Seeing Zhou Zhang's confused expression, the old man added, you've definitely lost money. Who would want to buy equipment in such bad condition? Zhou Zhang asked the old man, so what should I do? The old man stood up and suggested, take them to an equipment repair shop. After they're fixed, you might be able to sell them. After thinking for a moment, he came up with an even better suggestion, how about you sell all these items to me at a reasonable price, and I'll take them to get repaired. Zhou Zhang responded, how much do you think they're worth each? Zhou Zhang realized that the old man was deceiving him, but he wanted to see how long the man would keep up the act. The old man suggested that each item was priced at 1 high-grade white star crystal, and if possible, he would take them all. Just as the old man finished speaking, a young man stepped forward and remarked that the item was not bad, and at the very least, it should be worth a high-grade blue star crystal. The young merchant finished speaking and turned to the old man Tao Chownan, saying, just because others dare not touch you doesn't mean I won't. With such good equipment, you only price it at 1 white star crystal? You are truly a scoundrel who tarnishes the reputation of the trading world. Tao Chownan turned around and shouted directly at the boy, don't spit blood. The boy refused to back down, retorting, are you daring to do it but not daring to admit it? Tao Chownan immediately ordered his companions to capture the boy and take him outside the city to be fed to the wolves. The boy quickly turned to run, but unexpectedly, Zhou Zhang chased after him, patted him on the shoulder, and pulled him back. "Don't rush off like that." The boy shouted, "Let me go." He thought to himself, "Oh no, this kid is in cahoots with that old Tao Chaonan." However, contrary to his expectations, Zhou Zhang suddenly asked, "You must be Zhang Yonglin, right? Do you want to be my equipment distributor?" Seeing Zhou Zhang speaking so amicably with Zhang Yonglin, the old Tao Chaonan hurried over, advising Zhang Yonglin not to meddle in his affairs. Zhou Zhang drew a sword from the side of the road, moving with incredible speed, and pressed the blade against the old man Tao Chaonan's neck. He did not want to hear any more of the old man's noisy words. Zhou Zhang coldly ordered the old man, "Get lost." Tao Chaonan, despite his usual arrogance, couldn't help but challenge, "You dare to kill someone right in the street?" Zhou Zhang responded coldly, "Don't push me." Seeing the commotion, the Titan city guards immediately rushed to the scene. Tao Chaonan, ever the talker, taunted Zhou Zhang, daring him to act. Despite being a conniving businessman who often bullied newcomers, today Tao Chaonan had picked the wrong target. He was facing Zhou Zhang, a man of power and influence, with a reputation for making women swoon over his grand designs. The Titan city guards quickly intervened, urging Zhou Zhang, "Put the knife down and don't cause any more trouble with this old man." As Zhou Zhang lowered his weapon, the guards swiftly grabbed Tao Chaonan by the collar, slamming him to the ground and delivering a harsh beating. Tao Chaonan screamed, "You're attacking the wrong person. I'm the one being threatened, stop hitting me." Amid the commotion, one of the guards saluted Zhou Zhang respectfully. Zhou Zhang, unbothered by the scene, simply instructed, "It's not a major offense, just find a place and lock him up." The bystanders watching the scene were in shock. Tao Chaonan, the usual tyrant who made life difficult for people, had finally gotten a taste of his own medicine. Once the situation was under control, Zhou Zhang left Tao Chaonan's fate in the hands of the guards and pulled Zhang Yonglin away to continue their business discussion. Soon after, they were seated at an outdoor noodle shop, where Zhou Zhang ate with relish while Zhang Yonglin hadn't touched his bowl. Zhou Zhang, noticing this, asked with a grin, "Why aren't you eating? Is the noodle here not to your liking?" Zhang Yonglin quickly waved his hand, "No, the noodles here are the best." Zhou Zhang, knowing Zhang Yonglin's expertise as a businessman, understood that he must be familiar with the origins of the old gear. There were three possibilities: the gear could be from a liquidation sale, from teams selling off their equipment, or, as Zhou Zhang thought, something else entirely. That's why he needed someone reliable to handle the matter. Zhang Yonglin, curious about why Zhou Zhang had chosen him for this task, asked directly. Zhou Zhang replied simply, "It's because of your character." Meanwhile, the martial artist team leader, who had been hanging around the stables ever since Zhou Zhang brought back the level 8 bull as his mount, couldn't help but admire it. "You went out and brought back a level 8 creature as your mount. That's impressive," he remarked. Zhou Zhang humbly shrugged, "It was just luck." The team leader then suggested, "Maybe I should go out and catch a level 11 mutated lizard to ride instead?" Zhou Zhang chuckled, replying, "If you're trying to get yourself killed, then sure." Handing Zhou Zhang a task assignment, the team leader explained that although Headquarters 1 was still under construction, the lockdown would be lifted so that the martial artists could enter. He leaned in and whispered, "Your job is just to arrange things for the foreign martial artists. It's pretty easy, right?" Zhou Zhang nodded gratefully, thanking the team leader for the trust. Later, Zhou Zhang called Xiao Hong to check on the situation regarding the medicine sales. Xiao Heng enthusiastically reported that the price of the medicine had risen fourfold. Zhou Zhang suggested that Xiao Hong coordinate with Zhang Xiaoqi's transport team to move 6 batches of the medicine to the headquarters. Furthermore, if any martial guild members requested medicine, they should be sold at a fixed price of 4 white star crystals per dose. Xiao Hong curiously asked Zhou Zhang, "Don't you want to wait any longer? What if the market price goes up to 5 pieces in the future?" Zhou Zhang, knowledgeable, replied, "If we think that way, then our competitors will definitely think the same. When there are many competitors, the prices will immediately drop." Xiao Hong responded, "I understand now." At that moment, Zhou Zhang noticed an old man sitting by the roadside next to a bag labeled "Increase Conductivity." Zhou Zhang was curious about the item. The old man explained, I specialize in upgrading weapons. The method is to embed crystals into the weapon to increase its conductivity, with a fee of 1 high-level green crystal. You need to provide a weapon with a high success rate. How much conductivity can be increased depends on the level of the spirit you and the weapon possess. White crystals increase from 1% to 3%. Blue crystals from 3% to 6%. Green crystals from 6% to 9%. Purple crystals from 9% to 12%, and the rest depends on luck. But I must remind you beforehand, upgrading carries risks. If it fails, not only will the weapon be destroyed, but the star crystal used as material will also be lost. However, the fee you owe me must still be paid. He was a novice gem cutter named Gu Zhenyi. Zhou Zhang stroked his chin and said, sounds interesting. Suddenly, another person rushed over and shouted at the old man, fraud. Do you dare to deceive me again? This martial artist exposed the old man to Zhou Zhang, saying, hey, don't trust this old man. Yesterday, I gave him AMTU with 20% conductivity for him to upgrade. This morning, he told me my weapon was destroyed. The old man calmly replied, upgrading weapons is not an easy task. The martial artist grabbed the old man's collar and threatened, if it weren't for the rule against fighting here, I would have already beaten you to death, fraudster. Today, I will stay here to make sure you don't deceive anyone else. As the sun began to set, the old man prepared to pack up and leave, while the martial artist remained nearby, still threatening, tomorrow, I will continue to watch you. The old man simply replied, it's up to you, then turned into a narrow alley and disappeared. Zhou Zhang had been waiting in the alley for a long time. Gu Zhenyi, who was shorter than him, was surprised and asked what Zhou Zhang wanted to do. Zhou Zhang answered, I want to talk business with him. Thanks to the system, Zhou Zhang had learned that the man was a skilled engraver, and the system's information was always reliable. This person must have technical expertise, so Zhou Zhang decided to trust him. After inspecting the dagger, Gu Zhenyi spoke, indeed, this is a fine weapon. You must want to engrave this weapon, right? He examined the dagger under the firelight and speculated, to be able to obtain a weapon like this, you are definitely not an ordinary person. Zhou Zhang responded, who I am doesn't matter. He got straight to the point, how did you figure out that engraving could enhance conductivity? Gu Zhenyi lowered his voice and said, it was just a fortunate chance. He added, engraving takes at least an entire evening. You can wait here. Zhou Zhang replied, all right. Gu Zhenyi said softly, to thank you for trusting me, I will only charge a fee if I succeed this time. As he watched the man enter the closed room, Zhou Zhang thought to himself, this is a bit risky, such unique skills shouldn't be casually shared with outsiders. While waiting for Gu Zhenyi, Zhou Zhang relaxed, enjoying the cool breeze and muttering to himself, it's a pity that this only has a 25% conductivity, even though it has been upgraded, it's still somewhat lacking, so I can only take the risk with this extraordinary blade. Looking up at the starry sky, he softly spoke, I hope I can successfully upgrade it, otherwise, I will have to overuse it for a long time. During the wait, Zhou Zhang took the opportunity to absorb energy from the raw stone. Suddenly, Gu Zhenyi opened the door and stepped out, walking with a dejected demeanor. Seeing this, Zhou Zhang was startled, thinking, this expression. It's over. He anxiously asked, how did it go? It didn't fail, did it? After gulping down some water, Gu Zhenyi wiped his mouth and replied, what are you thinking? I just went out to get a drink. Hearing this, Zhou Zhang couldn't help but feel speechless, damn, you scared me to death. Time passed quickly, and the sun began to rise, with birds chirping merrily on the branches. Gu Zhenyi brought out the dagger, which had shattered into many pieces, and said softly, kid, I'm sorry. He continued, I told you the probability was very low, my condolences. Seeing his beloved weapon had departed from this world, Zhou Zhang could only cry bitterly. Thinking of this, he suddenly jolted and shouted loudly. Seeing his appearance, Gu Zhenyi lowered his head and asked, did you have a nightmare? You didn't dream of a broken knife, did you? As soon as he opened his eyes, he found himself in this situation. Zhou Zhang felt as if his soul had left his body. He stepped back and screamed, "Ah, old man, are you trying to scare me to death?" Zhou Zhang held his head, thinking to himself, "I really worried too much, it has been a long time since I acted so rudely." At that moment, Gu Zhenyi turned his gaze to the white cloth behind him and said, "You can see for yourself." He continued, "You're quite lucky, kid." Hearing this, Zhou Zhang was filled with anticipation. He had truly succeeded. He reached out to pull the white cloth away, revealing a powerful purple dagger, the top weapon, with a high ratio from the newly released Titan City. Gu Zhenyi remarked that if he wasn't mistaken, the conductivity must have increased by 12%. At that moment, Zhou Zhang happily tried to spin the dagger in his hand, joyfully saying, "Sir, I really didn't misjudge you." Receiving the notification call, Shang Zhan said in confusion, the opportunity to control the equipment world of Titan City. Zhou, I don't quite understand. After a moment, Shang Zhan gently said, "Anyway, I trust you. Tomorrow, I will come to headquarters number 1 with the fleet. Please explain the details to me." After hanging up the phone, he muttered to himself, "This kid." Chang Zhan looked out at the scenery outside and softly said, "This time has really changed my perspective on him." At headquarters number 1, everyone was gathered closely together, despite the staff continuously reminding, "Please do not push." The crowd behind was shouting loudly, "Get me 100 units of golden healing medicine, and give me golden healing medicine and hemostatic drugs, 500 of each." Seeing this, Xiao Hong was secretly delighted, thinking, who would have thought that these medicines, which no one used to buy, are now in such high demand that even 4 units of white crystal are not enough. Zhou really has a far-sighted vision. At the same time, Suatian gazed into the distance and muttered to himself, "It's been half a month, and Xiong Er still hasn't thought of me." In anger, he threw a powerful punch, shattering the railing.